Hi, Tiffany again from Not Away Prepping. Um, so I'm going to talk again today about kind of my life situation and homelessness. If you're not interested, click away. But I think this is something that could happen to anybody, really. What I'm dealing with currently is kind of bad credit, and that's my own fault, but also a bad reference from my 5 year property manager based on one argument that we had over her being in the wrong, denying me accommodations due to my disabilities. And I have applied 20 different places and been told no at every single one. And at this point, it is now March. I have until September, and then September 1st, I will no longer have a place to live. And yeah, so I've started trying to plan, how am I going to work this? How am I going to come out for the better? And I think that's the first thing about potential homelessness. You need to have a realistic mindset that yes, it can happen to you. Stuff happens. And that just get your mind in a good, positive place that yes, it's going to be a struggle. It's not going to be as easy to do the day to day tasks you're used to doing, like showering, eating, um, sleeping. These tasks are going to be monumentally harder, but um, they're still possible. There is still life, even if you don't have four walls and a roof. Before humans invented four walls and a roof, they had life and they were very successful. So, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to really take me back to my roots and to really learn how to live well with very little. So, with that kind of frame of mind, I've been tagging items throughout my home for sale, deciding where I'm going to take them, where's going to be the best profit. I have a lot of vintage items I'm getting rid of. All that's got to go because there is no climate controlled storage units available in my town, and I don't intend to leave my hometown just because I no longer have a dwelling. Um, but there's no climate controlled storage, and there's no point in storing things that are just going to get ruined when I could have that money in my pocket in my savings. Um, Budgeting, I've looked at a realistic budget for what it's going to be like to live rough. It's in some ways like I'm not giving up my dogs. In some ways, like feeding them and taking care of them is going to be more expensive because it's going to be even more vital when we're camping out to have sleep control and heartworm control and good quality food so that the stresses they're facing day to day, they're not, they need good nutrition to support them and their bodies. So I'm definitely going to start switch them now in the next couple months over to air dried, more whole foods diet that is more expensive than what I have fed them in the past, but is better nutrition, so that hopefully they will do better. Um, a big thing is figuring out my finances and figuring out financially how this is going to benefit me and figuring out a budget for living rough, basically, and how I have great hopes that I can be um, banking more than half my income every month while living in a tent so that at most a year or two will pass with me um, not having a house before I can actually buy property. And I'm not going to be buying $180,000 house, that's for sure. Like most of the places here are priced, but I will have the money to buy a lot or a double lot or something like that in one of the small communities around here. When I say small, I mean like 500 people small. um, and they have more lax building codes. So it's my hope to hand build a tiny home for myself and my dogs. My greatest worry and threat is that I'll be arrested for trespassing on private property, going to some of these more remote places along, in wooded areas along outside my town that's still accessible so I can come into town for groceries and doctor's appointments and that kind of thing, that I'll be arrested for trespassing. And my dogs will go to the animal shelter and I won't be able to get them back. And, just that kind of thing. That's like my biggest fear. So definitely, there are quite a few river accesses and places where you can legally camp around town because we are quite rural. So I'm definitely hoping on taking advantage of those as much as possible. But I have been looking, a great way to find a camp is I have been looking on Google Maps, the satellite and aerial view, and um, like just thinking through like different possible campsites and strategies for camping without being found out and places I could. And there's a place actually pretty close to where my apartment is now that I've explored looking for wild edibles. That's probably going to be my first campsite. And hopefully that goes well. The biggest thing I'm going to try to be mindful of is definitely staying off of any kind of posted property. That's the big thing, because if the property is not posted and you don't know who owns it, you can feign ignorance, say, "Oh, I thought blah blah blah" or whatever. But if a property is posted, guaranteed you're probably going to go to jail because the people care about who's on their property and they're going to press charges. So I'm definitely staying off any posted property. And I'm definitely going to have to be very mindful of going into wooded areas where people may have game cameras because deer hunting is a way of life, is a huge fact of life around here. And, obviously I don't want to mess with anybody's hunting grounds, but just as legally as possible, looking at possible campsites where I can be and have the dogs and have a tent and shelter and still be able to get into town and do the things that I need to do and not have any kind of issues with trespassing or anything. Um, my health insurance pays for me to have a gym membership at the local community center, and the local community center offers the purchase of or the renting of lockers, and they have showers. So it's my plan. I've already been there to visit. It's my plan closer to time that I'll be losing my apartment to rent a locker, and I'll keep all my shower stuff at the community center so that I can, go there whenever they're open and get a good shower. And we have a laundromat in town where I can wash clothes. I'll just need to keep supply quarters and um, the hardest part for me is like figuring out how to feed my dogs because they're used to getting chicken and liver mixed with dry food and broth. And, you know, I usually can't have a bunch of that canned up in reserve, but not having a climate controlled storage unit, I don't know how canned goods, home canned goods, or just plain canned goods from the store are gonna fare, or what exactly I can do to prolong their life. Because here in Missouri, it gets 100 plus degrees in the summer and well below freezing in the winter. And obviously, canned goods aren't really made to hold up to that kind of extreme temperatures, nor is medication, nor is a lot of things. So I've been researching how to store your items in a storage unit, just a regular storage unit, and not have them be destroyed. and I'm going to use a storage unit, which I've already decided on what company I'm going to go with based on price and location in town. I've been researching how to store your items without having them be ruined, and there's a lot of rules as far as what you can and can't store. Like, you can't store flammable materials, which does that include lamp oil? Does that include fuel for my backpacking stove? Does that include, kerosene? Kerosene for my kerosene heater? I think it probably does include all those things. So I'm gonna have to figure that out, maybe break some rules, or I don't know. But um, just it's a long road. There's a lot to still figure out. I'm definitely getting a bank safety deposit box to put all my important documents in, and I will be carrying copies only because I have a cousin who's chronically homeless, and I've talked to homeless people before, and one of the main hurdles for them is people either get their documentation, their birth certificate, driver's license stuff stolen, or it's ruined somehow. And the barrier, once all of that is gone, to getting it back and then being able to like establish yourself again in the world can be a very, very big barrier. So I don't ever want to get in that position. So all my original documents are going to go in a safety deposit box here in town at my bank, and I'll just be carrying, in some cases, certified copies, but I'll just be keep bare minimum copies of identification on myself. And another hurdle is, how do I get mail? I get my medicine through the mail. I think I'll probably need some survival items over time if things break or wear down, or I just need additional items off like Amazon or such. So my plan is kind of two prong. One is get a post office box, which they're pretty inexpensive in my area, and set up informed delivery through the USPS. And then I have a friend who's agreed to let me receive packages at their address through, if I need to, from like Amazon and such. And I'm just continuing to collect gear that will be essential. I have a lot of camping gear and hiking gear because it's been a hobby of mine for a lot of years. But just trying to like get gear that'll be light and also very incognito, because I've never really done stealth camping before. So having to replace things with things that are going to be less visible has been a big thing, but I've been working on it. And I know a big stealth camping tip is, if I'm going to set up a campsite somewhere, go in super late at night when everybody's going to be asleep and, settling down for the evening, and come out super early in the morning, and don't tell anyone where my camp is. My biggest worry with some of the campsites that I'm looking at is, like, our hunter's going to stumble on me, and what will happen if that happens? Are they going to report me to the police if I'm on private property? Are they going to try to take care of things on their own and threaten me or hurt me? It's not, it's going to be very stressful not having a place that I'm renting or owning that I have permission to be. And ultimately, maybe I may post an ad asking people in the community, would anyone want me to watch their property and camp out and watch their property while they're gone for the winter, that kind of thing, so that I can have somewhere that I can actually, with permission, be and not have to worry. And if I can find something like that, that'll be really nice. I don't currently own a hot tent, but I will probably be purchasing one based on it'll be like August 31st when I'll be leaving my apartment for the last time. And here it starts to get cold in October. We usually can have first snows in October. So I'll only have maybe a month of really good weather to adjust to being outside. I know that I have all the warm clothes I need, but um, just really making sure I have what I need to get through the winter, and it's gonna be tough, but I have a good attitude about it. Like, I'm gonna learn so much, and hopefully I can teach people what I learned so that if you're in the same situation, you're not left with the only option of going to a homeless shelter, because those can be pretty difficult places to be with a whole range of different people from different walks of life. And personally, I don't feel like I'm gonna need to go to a place like that because I have resources and I'm a resourceful person, and I have things that I can do to support myself that even if I don't have an apartment or a house or anything, I can still get by. I still have the supports, I still have all the things I need, and just trying to be positive about it. And maybe maybe this will turn into a bushcraft channel instead of a prepping channel. I don't know. But if anybody wants to hear me talk on this more, please let me know. Like this video, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.